Good morning, everybody. My name is Justin. We're here at Transwest Truck Trailer RV today in the beautiful town, Fredrick, Colorado. It's nice and sunny and it's a hot one out today, so we'll make this one a little bit quicker than usual. Today we're going to be doing a new 2026 Renegade Valencia 36SB. So you'll have a 12,000 pound tow capacity. It's going to be one of the smaller actual heavy duty truck chassis that they use. And it's in the beautiful recharge paint scheme, so it's that nice black, silver, and dark grays. So if anybody likes that more neutral tones, you'll have that. So we're gonna start up in the front of this one today. First things first, you'll have a giant fiberglass hood. It does have gas struts on it, so it's very easy to open and close. What's going to power this motorhome is going to be the Cummins ISB block. It's going to be a 6.7 liter. It makes 360 horsepower and 800 pounds of torque. With this one being a Super C, it's going to have more accessibility to service centers across the country. A little bit more truck shops will work on it relative to Class A diesels. Everything's up front and accessible just like a normal truck chassis would be. They just have a motorhome mounted on top of it instead of a box truck. Up here, you'll be able to have easy access to check all your fluids, your coolant levels, oil levels, windshield wiper fluid, see all your hoses, the alternators, intakes, and stuff. So if you're kind of a do-it-yourselfer, you'll have easy access to that. When we go and close this hood, you'll see the gas struts keep it from slamming down, but it also makes it a little bit easier. So I can just let go, it'll close down, and then you'll have these nice rubber catches over here. So you put the tooth in the groove and then flip it down and over top. While we're up here, we'll cover a couple different things. So most of your Freightliner chassis are going to come with a nice chrome bumper. One thing that Renegade does is they'll actually paint it to match the paint scheme of the motorhome and to give it a little bit cleaner aesthetic. You'll still have your chrome pieces, or if you option some of the blackout ones on the other models, you can do that just to give it black grille, black wheels, and black accents on that, just depending on what your preference is. The Freightliner bumpers are 3-piece bumpers. So up underneath here, you'll have 2 bolts that hold that left side and the right side on. So if you ever get just a corner impact, you could take that piece of the bumper off and still keep going down the road. And at the angle that it's curved at, there's a good chance that it will clear the tire and not actually impact directly on the tire. They'll use clear bra on all the high impact areas. It is Diamond Shield brand, so it's very popular in the RV industry. You'll see that on the bumper, up on the grill, and then around specific areas where there's going to be a lot of traffic per se, like footwells, and where you'd grip with your hands. So on the corner of this, we'll cover 2 things. You're gonna have your side observation cameras. So they are mounted at the furthest point forward on the motorhome. So that way, since it's a truck chassis, you kind of can't see down below this door. You'll be able to see those small cars, bikes, or motorcycles in your blind spots where the mirrors don't cover. So it just gives you a little bit more peace of mind on the road while you're driving this thing. And for 2026, they have a designated Voyager camera that's always on with those different cameras, so you can see what's going on at all times. You'll have Alcoa aluminum polished wheels up here, so they'll be wrapped in Michelin XZE2s 275/80 R22.5, and you'll have the little Renegade center cap in there just to help complete the aesthetic of the motorhome. We'll keep working our way down the side. So just at the passenger door, you'll see a couple little things that they do. They do this graded metal step here, and you'll have these little grooves in here. So it makes it really easy to get traction, even in rain or that snowy or icy weather, or a good place just to scrape off the bottom of your shoes. If you're in like a muddier environment, you can do that. You'll have 2 very large mirrors. The top one will be your normal mirror. It is heated. And it is electric. You can control it from the inside, and then you'll have that larger convex mirror, so you could see lower down and definitely a little bit broader of an area like you would on cars. Opening the door, you'll have a couple things here. As always, you'll have the marker light mounted on the door itself, so oncoming cars, if you're pulled over on the side of the road, left or right, it won't matter. They can see that the door is open and it's reflecting back at them. Your seats, both sides will have air seats. in them. You do have lumbar and you do have heat on both of these. You'll have cubbies down here and up above. We'll cover the cubbies a little bit more once we get inside. And you'll also have just some of the factory floor mats. Obviously, if you live in a snowy state or a rainy state, change those out to some all-weather mats just to protect the interior of this motorhome. You'll have two big grab handles to get in, one right here down low, and then obviously one up here when you get up in there, just to help finish off climbing into that motorhome, especially if you got bad knees or a little bit older. So next thing that you're going to cover is going to be the entry door. So for 2025, 2026, they made the entry door just a couple inches wider. It makes it a little bit more spacious getting in and out, but also just bringing in cargo boxes or anything that you want to tote in and out. You will have two steps. As you can see, they do come down pretty low to the ground, so definitely easier to get in and out of the motorhome. New for 2026, you're going to have the keyless entry. So you'll have a code that's on the keychain and you can reprogram it to whatever you want. And you can use it to lock and unlock the door without having to actually have your keys. On the door itself, you will have the little metal kick plate at the bottom, and then screens, plastic piece to block it off, screen at the top, a really large window in there, but you also have a blackout shade mounted to that screen. So if you wanted just to block out that little bit of extra light, you can do that, whereas most screen doors don't have any way to block out the light creep from the door itself. Standing back a little bit, you're going to see one of the first pieces of equipment that is going to be from Girard. You'll have your Girard armless awning up there, so all of the arms will actually swivel out from the tube that's integrated up there, instead of having those nice big rails going down the side. It gives it an overall cleaner look, but it also puts that LED light on the outside of that tube, so you can just use it as a porch light or a patio light outside at night. A little further down, you'll see the Girard slide toppers. So those are going to be mounted to the bedroom slide and the living slide on this. The fabric is encased in that tube, and it just helps keep the wind, the sun, and the rain, anything off of that fabric, and help promote the longevity of it and keep it from deteriorating over time. Going back closer, the Valencias are going to be equipped with a propane tank on it, so you're going to have a gas furnace as well as gas water heater. So what they do is give you a Truma AquaGo. So Truma AquaGo is a continuous water heater, and it's only producing hot water as you need it, instead of constantly heating those 6, 10, 12 gallon tanks that you have on like a lot of other motorhomes, or even if you're coming from the towable world. So we'll start off in this first compartment. There'll be a couple things that we'll show in here, and then that'll carry on through the rest of them. So in your compartments on Renegade products, on the lower end of this stuff, you're gonna have all felt lined compartments. That's just gonna help with noise transference and keep things from sliding around while you're down in here. In the top of this, you're going to have a 3,000 watt inverter. So that's going to be tied directly into the residential fridge that's inside, as well as a bunch of the outlets that are in there. If you climb the Renegade tree, there's a few options where you can get a secondary inverter that can control an AC, different brands of inverters, and larger battery banks, but we'll cover those in other videos. This compartment itself, you're going to have two latches, you can see. So it promotes a nice even seal all the way around. Again, that'll carry through all the compartments, so we're just going to cover it in this first one. And you have nice thick bulb seals with little air holes in there. So when it closes down, it can actually compress that seal nice and tight without it bouncing back at you when you slam these doors closed. Up above, you're going to have an overhead TV with a sound bar. So that sound bar is going to be your exterior speakers if you want to connect to that via Bluetooth or anything. You'll also have a little bit of power over here, some USB ports. So if you need to charge a phone, charge speakers, or anything like that, you can have a little bit of access to power out here. So these two compartments are going to be one long compartment. So it is pass-through as far as lengthwise. So you can stick longer items like a thinner table, fishing poles, any of those larger objects that you want in here, you can. In the top right corner of it, you're going to have a power outlet. So that's where if you want to set up an outdoor table or plug anything else in outside, you can run it through there, run it through the little cutout that's mounted right here. So you don't have to pinch your door seals running an extension cord through. There's actually a proper place for it. You're equipped with an air hose, so if you ever need to tie into the ping tanks, pump up your tires or trailer tires or toy tires, you can do that. And they also send them with some slide locks if you're ever going down those rougher roads and just want to make sure your slides aren't wiggling or adjusting at all. So it being a heavy duty truck chassis, you're going to have dually in the rear, singles up front. On the S2 RV chassis specifically, it's going to be front leaf spring and rear air suspension. So it'll just give it a little bit smoother of a ride in the back of the motorhome, as well as better load carrying capacities and a little bit of adjustability on the height in the rear, depending on what kind of trailers that you're hooking up to this thing. So next compartment will be a little bit deeper than that front one because you're behind that rear axle. You'll have your slide room controller for the bed slide in here, so if you ever need to reset it or resync the motors, you can do that. Watch a YouTube video on it. But they give you a clear little cutout access to that reset button. You just have to stick a little thin object in there to actually press it. So back here is going to be your propane tank. It will be a 20-gallon propane tank. So what that means to you, it's almost 4 of those 20-pound gas grill tanks that you would use at your home for your standard grill. So a lot of extra propane storage, especially for this size motorhome. The only thing that's going to be using propane is your water heater, your furnace, and your cooktop. You do have heat pump ACs, so if it's not super cold out, you can just utilize those ACs instead of the furnace. That way you're consuming less propane in those colder climates. You do have a propane quick connect down there if you want to hook up an outdoor grill. It'll be in that bottom right hand corner. On the back, there's going to be a couple things. So you'll have your camera. Your rear view camera is going to be down mounted below the roof line, so it's a little bit of protection from the sun and any debris from up there. Gives you a little bit better viewing angle of what's behind you. If you want to have it always on to watch whatever trailer or cars behind you, you can have that set up. You're going to have plenty of marker lights back here, as well as plenty brake lights and reverse lights, so you don't have to be worried about maneuvering this around in the night. And one of the biggest benefits that Renegade does is the 2-piece cap on the rear. So you'll have one lower small piece and then one large upper piece. And the reason they do that is if you're ever in a rear end collision, back into something or anything like that, you're most likely just going to damage this rear piece. And then it makes for a lot less parts and labor and a very much less expensive repair bill if you damage that or it gets broken for whatever reason. So down below that, you're going to have a Gen Y hitch. So if anybody in the towing community is very familiar with the Gen Y brand, it's one of the more premium brands of hitches. With the S2 RV chassis, you can tow 12,000 pounds. So they do give you a flip over ball from the factory. You'll have a 2-inch and a 2 5/16. And you also have the large hooks for your tow chains instead of having to reach underneath with those small truck ones that you've seen prior. 7-way plug's gonna be already mounted back here. So you'll have all the wiring that you need up there. Down below, you're gonna have the Renegade RV mud flap, so it's embossed with their logo. Just one of those nice touches that we try to order on all of our Renegade products, because we assume most people are gonna be towing something with this, and obviously you don't want your motorhome beating up whatever you have behind you. So the next few compartments are gonna be utility compartments. So they try to put all your storage on your camp side and everything that's used for the motorhome on the utility side of the motorhome, so you're not having to go back and forth. So in this first bay, you'll have a couple key important things. You'll have your 50 amp power cord, and it's mounted on a power cord reel, and you do have the designated cutout down here, so you can keep this compartment closed, especially in those colder climates. They do send you with a 50 to a 30 adapter, so if you need to hook up to a 30 amp campsite just based on availability or charge it at home, you can do that. There's a built-in surge protector, and that's an automatic transfer switch, so that's going to protect the electrical systems of this the motorhome if you ever plug into dirty power. And then you'll have another outlet in here with a resettable GFI. The next compartment's going to be your generator. So we currently have it running. Don't know if you guys can hear it on the video. It's going to be an 8,000 watt QD diesel generator. So it's made by Onan. It runs very, very quiet. 8,000 watts is overkill for this motorhome, but they want to make sure you have plenty of power. 8,000 watts, it'll be larger than some of the generators that are on like our 40 and 45 foot diesels, depending on the brand. You also have a sewer hose holder mounted down here, so there's a designated spot to put that, so you're not having to put it in any of your compartments. Up above here, you're going to have the cover for your diesel fuel tank. It's going to be a 100-gallon single tank, so you don't have to worry about any of the crossover pumps or anything like that. You just fill it up and you're good to go. Here's going to be your furnace exhaust, again on the utility side, so any of the noise and the heat's going to be on the opposite side of the motorhome and not blowing on the actual campsite underneath that awning like you'll find with a lot of other manufacturers or floor plans. This one's going to be your water bay. So your water bay is going to have a couple things in here. You'll have a whole house water filter. You'll have different level sensors here, so you can actually check your battery, fresh, gray, and black, all from in here. You'll have a retractable fresh water reel. You'll have low point drains, your cable inlet, another designated cutout again, so you can just keep everything enclosed and all your compartments neat and tidy. You'll have your dump valves, your black tank flush, as well as a little spray port here. So you'll have that right there, and then they have a little cubby mounted directly for it, so it's got its own place to store and you're not just tossing it down in there like you have to do with a lot of other brands. Everything in here, it's going to be cut out of it's laser cut out of a steel plate, so down the road you don't have to worry about any of it. You'll see a switch up there for flow jet, so flow jet's going to be used for that next compartment. So what flow jet is, it's a macerator system in it, so you turn that on and you drag that hose to wherever your dump station is, and that's going to be how you dump your tanks. The benefits of flow jet is it macerates it up, as well as it has a pump in it. So if you're not on level ground or you need to run it uphill, you can actually do that. Just makes it a little bit easier. Down here, these tanks are heated and enclosed, and they do have heating pads mounted directly to the tanks. So Renegade is known for their off-grid capabilities. So each of these tanks will be 75 gallons. One's a 75-gallon gray, one's a 75-gallon black, and then inside, underneath the bed, you'll have 150 gallons of freshwater capacity. So more than enough for any of your long week or weekend adventures. You don't have to take the military showers or anything like that. You can be comfortable using this motorhome on those desert trips. Next compartment's going to be one storage compartment over here. The main reason for that is going to be for your hoses and stuff. So you need at least one storage spot on this side, just so you can put any of the accessories you need, the coax, power adapters, anything of that nature. You can have it in one designated spot instead of spread across all these different compartments. So just a little bit more storage. So next bay is a very important bay for you. So you'll have your house batteries in here, as well as your chassis batteries. So we optioned for the Dragonfly lithium batteries on this coach, as well as upgrading the solar. So we do have 600 watts of solar on the roof, and then we have 300 amp hours of lithium down here. So that's going to, again, extend those off-grid capabilities, as well as the longevity of the batteries themselves. Lithium batteries have come a long way since back in the day, and they now can outlive most of us if taken care of properly. Your chassis batteries are also going to be stored in here, and they do have it open and exposed just like you need the batteries. And in here, in this top left portion, that's going to be the actual air chuck for that air hose that we saw on the other side. So if you ever need to get in, if you ever need to access the air, you can do that there. So up here on the driver's side, it's kind of a repeat of the passenger. Same steps. Two of the key differences, you'll have your DEF fuel tank, fill tank up here, And you'll also have the block heater plug mounted right here. So you don't have to fumble around in the engine bay to find that plug or the little, the actual plug or the cord hanging down from the block. It's just very easy to get to. So we'll go ahead and open up this side. It's a little bit easier to see things over here. So you'll see lumbar support over here. You'll see the air adjust for raising and lowering the seat. You can see the ignition down here on the left side, so it's kind of away from your knees. You do have the brake controller already integrated into the motorhome, and you do have your code readers down there if you ever need to do any engine diagnosis. Now with these newer chassis, they have self-diagnosing systems to a basic extent, so you can kind of see what's going on with your engine when you have it turned on and playing through the dash up there. It is prepped with a CB antenna, so if you wanted to get a CB system, you can do that. All of the wiring for that will be mounted up in the overhead in the center. So now we're going to cover the inside of this motorhome. So not a whole lot has changed on the interior, but very, very nice motorhomes, very aesthetic and very simple. Renegade's known for just being very utilitarian as far as their build. High quality builds, but not super fancy, just straight to the point. So as you walk in your steps, you're gonna have two big cubbies down below each steps. It's a good place to throw anything dirty, muddy clothes, dirty, muddy shoes, whatever you need to put in there. It's tiled with the same linoleum on that, and then you do have actual tile on both sides of it, just so preventative measures for wear and tear on it. So walking in the door, you'll have a couple different buttons on the right side. So down below, you're gonna have your initial battery disconnect. That'll kill the house power. Entry step override is just the manual switch for bringing the steps in and out when that door opens and closes. Emergency start links both groups of batteries if you kill one or the other. A manual switch for turning off your inverter if you need to disconnect that. And then your first kind of your basic control panel right at the entry door. So you can turn all your lights on and off, control your awning from here, control your cargo lights, so you can leave all the lights on down below and then just click the cargo switch and that'll kill all the power to those lights down there, as well as your ceiling lights. So any of these we see with the up down arrow, those are dimmable lights, and it's a little bit easier to show on the actual touch panel on the inside. So in this motorhome, you do have two slides on it. So right now we have it closed just to show how easy it is to navigate through. So I'm not a very large person, but it's still easy. You'll have to turn a little bit sideways to get back to the bathroom. But once you're past that slide, you can go back sideways and have easy access to the bathroom, the sink, anything that you need and to access while it's closed. You still have full access to the motorhome as far as fridge, kitchen, bathroom. If you need to take a nap, you can do the recliners, the booth, or you can jump and lay back on the bed. It's just butted up against the main wall. So we're gonna go ahead and open up each of the slides. So your front slide is gonna be a hydraulic slide. Just because it's larger, it's heavier. The actual weight of the slide itself can make a proper seal when it's all the way out. Whenever you have those smaller slides, that's when you'll have those electric slides, just so it can have those 4 rails on there and keep it nice and tight against the wall, so you don't have to worry about any wind, rain, or debris of that nature. Okay. So now we're just going to open the bed slide. So you can see the bed platform itself is fixed on the ground, but the bed is sliding over across the top of that. The reason for that is because the freshwater tanks are mounted to the floor underneath that bed. So they just raise the slide portion up and make it slide over across the top of the bed frame. So first thing that we're gonna cover in here is just gonna be sleeping capabilities. So we ordered most of our Renegades that have the option with the bunk over cab. So you just have the option to sleep a few more people. So when you get the bunk over cab, you'll have the skylight up here, you'll have a TV, as well as you'll have a nice big, essentially like queen bed up here. It's kind of larger than a queen. If you don't want to use it for people, you can simply push it up and out of the way. You have a little wedge mattress up here, so it'll slide up over top of itself, and this has a lot of friction on it just from the fabric and carpet that's here on both sides. When you have this all the way open, there's two on each side. There's going to be a little wood groove. I think that's new for 2026, where that lip won't slide back forward. It just stays locked. And then the carpet itself will keep it in place when it is closed all the way up like that. And that'll make it easier to get in and out of this cab when you don't have those guests. You can take those mattresses, leave them at home if you want to just use storage, because you have that nice thick lip here. You can put some bins and stuff up here if you need to. But if you do have someone up here, they'll have outlets and USB, a little cubby. They'll have designated vents on the front portion of this. So the AC is blowing directly into this cab, the cab over, where most of the time the person that's in here is either too hot or too cold. That way they can be comfortable. They'll have access to the living room lights or all the interior lights, as well as their own little privacy curtain. So whenever they want to block this off and just go to bed at their own time or whatever, they can have a little bit of privacy in there. The cab itself, these chairs do turn around to become part of the living room. You'll also have two privacy curtains here. So you're really high up in these Super Cs, so there's not a very strong chance of someone ever looking inside. But you do have those curtains just for a little peace of mind there, but you can also use them as just to block out that sun if you don't want to get like those Freightliner window visors to like totally block out this. A couple different ways to insulate it up here if you want. You know, you can determine that after the fact. Other forms of sleeping, the dinette will convert into a bed, and then obviously the master bedroom. So you can sleep up to 6 people if you want to, but if it's 2 in the main bedroom, 1 up there, 1 up there, you can have 4 people extremely comfortably. So we'll go ahead and start with the living room slide. So in it, we ordered it with the booth dinette and we optioned it with the recliners. So these recliners are new for 2026, the style of recliner that's in there. They actually have massage and heat in them, as well as electric open and close. So they are very, very comfortable, and the massage function actually works. It's a very strong vibration, whereas like the old Thomas Paine recliners was pitiful at best. You'll have a little accent light in the cup holders. So if you want it for a little night light or mood lighting, you can have that. It will change colors when you have the heat on. It changes to like a purple color instead of the blue. That way you know if it's on or not. And both recliners will be the same, and you'll have a storage cubby in the middle with another USB port back there. So a little bit of power in there. All of your windows. So the sides of the slides are going to be opening windows, but they're going to be the dummy windows. They're going to be the ones that open up and down, whereas the rest of your windows are going to be your frameless windows. So they are dual pane, so that's going to help with sound deadening as well as insulation. And they are frameless, so they open just by spinning the handle, having it tilt out, and you can have those open when it's raining or anything of that, and you don't have to worry about, you know, it blowing sideways inside your camper. As far as your blinds, you will have day shades. We have those down for the video just so there's less glares for the camera, but we also have it just to keep it a little bit cooler in here. But you also have the night shades in here. So those will black it out. They do have the finished valances around the edges, and that's going to make it where it's a little bit, you don't have any of that light creep that you get in a lot of other motorhomes that have the unfinished valances, and the light will just come through the sides. So yeah, you'll see that throughout the entire coach. Up here, you're going to have one big large storage compartment. So they don't do dividers in it. You can divide it up however you want. They have these hinges that actually keep it open, as well as hidden hinges. So again, they don't focus on all the pretty, they focus on the functionality and the quality of it. So all of the cabinetry is going to be maple hardwood cabinetry. When we see the drawers, those will all be dovetail drawers. And everything's meant to be just really high-end and super functional on it. This will probably be the easiest spot to demonstrate it, but the soft touch ceilings, so you'll have that throughout. That's going to help with noise deadening or sound deadening, as well as insulation. So just makes it a little bit more comfortable in here, and it's always a sign of like a higher end motorhome. They'll carry that up into the front cap as well, whereas a lot of the time that's when they'll just switch it to those Luan panels. And then we forgot to show it, but you'll have the electric shade up there. So if you want more natural light, you can do that. But obviously when it's super hot out, that is a very big heat sink. So just keep it closed, and that air gap in there helps make sure it stays nice and comfortable up there and in the motorhome. So the rest of the living room side, you're going to have two more big windows in front of the dinette. So you'll have two seat belts over here, two seat belts in the recliners, as well as two seat belts in your front, your driver and passenger chair up there, so you can seat 6 safely depending on how many people you need to bring. Your dinette actually flips down, and you can push it down, and then you just move the cushions slightly out of the way, and the other two cushions to fill in that gap are going to be in the drawers. Now again, if you're not bringing guests, please store those at home, because they do eat up, you know, a good amount of your storage. In the dinette itself, you'll have cup holders built in, like you see up there, little tray so you can set items in there, and then a couple little shelves to set things in. And you'll also have outlet in here with USB-C in the center and USB-A on the top portion of it. So just more power functionality for that. So we'll transition over to the kitchen side. So it's obviously living one side, kitchen on the other. It's a 36-foot motorhome, so there's not going to be too much separation in here, but they do a pretty good job at it. So up here is going to be kind of your first AV cabinet. So it's going to be for that TV over the door. We'll cover it when we get back over there. You'll have HDMI into there. We optioned this one with Starlink already, so you'll have the box for that up there. And you'll also have the cable inlet for your digital antenna if you need to turn that off and power it on. So they have a glass panel case, or glass panel on the front of it, so the infrared sensors can go through it if you have the older style remotes that don't use the Bluetooth and whatnot. And the shelves up there, if you're not going to have all the AV stuff, it's just more storage. Fridge and freezer, this is going to be the residential fridge and freezer. You'll have an ice maker in it, and then you'll also have plenty of fridge space down below. They do get bigger than this when you go up into bigger models and different motorhomes, but yes, it is a residential one in a smaller Super C. So this will be your pantry space. So the pantry space in this one is about twice as wide as it would normally be, because this bottom portion is all your electrical. So it's labeled. You have the Renegade customer support number here. Your fuses, your breakers are all located in one central spot, so they're easy to get to, easy to find. You're not having to struggle looking around underneath the bed or any of those hidden spots that you get with a lot of motorhomes. So that helps with the safety aspect if you ever need to kill the power of anything. But with this pantry, all these shelves are adjustable. So these little plastic pegs will move around wherever you need them to, just depending on the height of the items that you want to store in there. And you're more than welcome to put those little 2-stacker shelves or the little baskets in here just to help with that organization, because it is a very large space for lots of items. So now we're going to move over to the kitchen a little bit. Storage up above, you'll have one outlet designated for your microwave. So it is a convection microwave, so that'll act as your oven. You simply hit convection, set the temperature, and then it's an oven. It's a lot less complicated than what it seems like. With a convection microwave, you'll see that the metal's not touching the edges on it, so it is insulated. You can leave the racks in there when you are using it as a microwave. Your cooktop, so you'll have little removable shelves up here. They are cut out from the cooktop. You got the little breathers back there. If it ever needs to cool off, you can put those back on it and it'll still be able to breathe, vent off the heat. You will have 3 burners. You also have a nice metal grate there, so easy to clean, as well as you're not going to worry about cracking that cheap glass and that's on a lot of those other cooktops. It'll be a GE profile cooktop. They're not self-igniting, but it's electric ignite. You just push the button in and then the spark's going off for it, so you don't have to mess around with the stick lighter like you used to if you had towables before. Little accent light on just on the rings. Just makes it a little bit nicer. You'll have a tile backsplash just around the cooking area on these, so protect the wood, also the longevity of the motorhome. It is real tile. It does have actual grout in it, and it does have, I believe it's called Schluter, around the edges of it, just to make it a more complete look, as well as you can tell that it's real. Down below the cooktop, you'll have a drawer. So on this one, you can actually see the dovetail finish that they use on the side of it. So any of your pull-out drawers will have this. Again, it's just a sign of a higher quality drawer, a little bit nicer product that they do. Spend the money where it matters instead of just making it pretty. You'll have soft close on all of your drawers. This next one is going to have a nice big travel lock on it, because they understand this is where you're going to put your pots and pans. So they did 2 hinges on here just for the strength of it, not one bottom. See even more of the dovetail, but you also have the dividers in here that are removable. So if you want to stick lids in here, or if you need bigger pans, you can simply take them out and stash them wherever you want. And again, they put the travel lock in here just so you don't have to worry about making like a hard right turn and the drawer come flying out. So it does open, and then it compresses itself against the inner side of this. So this drawer, just another little drawer that you got, can store stuff in. You'll have the water filter, you'll have some lubricant in here, you'll have the remotes for the motorhome here, as well as touch-up paints. Down below is just going to be another cabinet. Up here, you're going to have 2 cabinets, one designated spot for the trash can, and then obviously a cabinet underneath the sink. Up above, you're going to have a big stainless steel sink, and then solid surface countertops there, and sink covers along with that. So if you're not cooking or anything, and you're prepping or meal prep, whatever you decide to do, you'll just have more space, as well as they give you a little flip up countertop that's over here. So again, just more prep space whenever you're doing it. So now we saw the AV cabinet. Over here is going to be the TV and the sound bar. So the sound bar is going to be your interior speakers, so you can just tie in directly to that if you need to. And then your TV, it is on a swivel mount, so you'll just pull down on this strap and pull it away from the wall. That way you can get better viewer angles, especially if you have people sitting in that dinette over there. The last bit of storage spot in the kitchen is going to be up here. So it is fixed shelves. They are full-length shelves, and they are rather deep. In here, you're going to have owner's manuals. So this one will be for the Freightliner chassis, the Cummins engine, and then this one will be for the Renegade owner's manuals. So light reading if you want to get into that. So let's see. While we're up here, and this is a little bit more open of a space, we'll cover the control panel. So you'll have 2 of these. One's located in the bathroom area, one's in the front of the coach. You'll have a couple different tabs on that left-hand side. The home page is going to be kind of your main display. You'll have the light master switches, your different temperatures, what your AC fan speeds are running at, and what they're set, what setting they're on, not what temperature they're on. That's just the current temperatures in here. You'll have your different level gauges, so fresh gray, black, LP. You can turn on your water pump from the home page, as well as your tank heating pads. Auto gen start's accessible here, generator, and your batteries are all accessible here. All of your lights, you'll have your different lights, any of the up downs we saw that are dimmable. You can hold them, and then it'll dim it and raise it up. If you ever need to reset it or turn off certain ones, you can turn them all off. It'll memorize what you turned on, which ones you turned off, but if you want to reset all of them, you just hold the on button. All on, max brightness. Power, it's going to show where your power is coming from, whether it's shore power or if it's your generator. It's showing where it's going and what's pulling on it, and then showing your battery state of charge and how much amps would go to them if they needed it. Right now our battery is full because it's been nice and sunny and we have the generator on right now. Auto gen settings, you can set that up for state of charge or HVAC load. That way if you keep any pets in here, you can make sure they're protected from the elements, or if you're going camping for a couple days, but you're off grid and you want to make sure your fridge stays cold, you can set it for state of charge. That way it'll keep your batteries charged up and you don't have to worry about it. Back in here you can see your different solar, how much power that's producing, and then state of charge details. So this is all the nitty gritty on the batteries. As far as the next one, it's going to be your temperature. So you'll have your front and rear. They're both 15K ACs. They both have heat pumps. Your front zone is going to be the one that controls the furnace, so you can turn that on if you want to do that. You can also turn on your Truma from here. You can set your fan speeds on, or you can adjust the fan speeds on your AC, or you can set it up for auto temperature, and then it'll use heat pumps, furnace, ACs, whatever it needs to keep it within a certain temperature range, depending on how you set that up. Your fans is just going to be the max air fan in the bathroom, so on, off, up, down, high, medium, and low, depending on the noise level. That'll also act as an attic fan. This one that looks like a slide box going out, there'll be a couple different things you can control here. The front slide, that front window shade, your leveling can be controlled here or up front. Your bed slide and your awning are all controlled from this spot. The last tab is going to be your settings tab, so you can download the mobile app for this, connect your phone to it, and if you're doing some solo camping, you can have the app, open it, see what's going on with it, but it also helps it where you can go outside, put out your awning and watch that, put out each of your slides and watch that. Make sure you're not going to crunch it onto something outside, hit a tree or anything of that nature if you park too close to stuff. Cell network diagnostics is going to be diagnosing the system. Switch panel info is just more info on it. Floor plan, screen brightness, a cleaning mode will just black out the screen so you can wipe it down. And then obviously adjusting the time on it. So there'll be two of those, like we said, one up there and then one in the back bathroom. So now we're going to move on to the middle of the coach. So in the middle you'll have a couple things here. So your washer dryer is going to be in the center, so it's not located in the bedroom. And then and you have these hinges that open all the way just to make sure it gets things in and out easy. There will be a couple pocket doors located in here. So you'll have one that blocks off the bedroom and the bathroom, but then you also have another one that's going to block off just the bedroom alone. So if you have someone that needs to get ready between the bedroom and bathroom, they can have that privacy that they need. The next section is going to be the sink. So it is a split bathroom system. So you'll have the sink outside of where the shower and the toilet is. So two people can kind of do their business or however they need to do. You'll have overhead light, big glass medicine cabinet here. You'll have medicine cabinet back behind it. It will have adjustable shelves. So again, whatever height requirements your items need. Towel hanger, GFI protected outlet. You'll have that secondary control panel here. So easy to get to from the bedroom. Again, solid surface countertops with the bowl and another little backsplash. So you'll see this countertop carried throughout the motorhome. The booth dinette, the countertops, the sinks, some areas next to the bed. Any place that there's going to be water or stuff that you toss or just set down, any high traffic areas really, you'll have that. So down below you'll have some storage. So plumbing down there, wide open storage down there, and you'll also have a few deep drawers. The next portion is going to be the toilet and the shower. So in here you'll have two important things really. Well, I guess things to prevent noise. So you'll have another pocket door for privacy, for just blocking off the toilet area like a water closet in the house. You'll have magnets that hold these doors shut, as well as a little button strap. So that's going to keep it from sliding back and forth. If you ever hit those hard bumps, the magnet's not going to let go. And just another little thing that Renegade does just to help prevent those loud bangs whenever you're traveling down the road. So the shower is going to be a fiberglass shower. It is a radius shower. You don't really get square showers until you get up to one Verona LE floor plan or the Explorers and up. But the radius shower is a significantly bigger radius shower. I'm 5'10" on a good day, and I have reaching up into the skylight. So you can be a much taller person and still get in here. You'll just have to stick the wand up higher if you're a whole lot taller. but you will have room if you're a larger person. It is a fiberglass shower, so it is repairable. So if you damage it or anything, drop something in here, crack the fiberglass or anything, depending on the size of it, you can fix it without having to gut the entire shower and replace it. You'll have little wipers on the glass, as well as the glass down below in that metal track, so it keeps the water inside when you're taking a shower. But you also have magnets that hold it together, and you have to pull it apart, and then the little rubber travel lock that'll keep tension on it, so it's not coming apart while you're driving down the road. Up above, you'll see the max air fan that's in here. You'll also see a storage compartment for in the bathroom itself. You'll have a window in here just for a little bit of airflow or natural light. Towel rod, toilet paper holder, porcelain toilet with electric flush, and then a designated heat vent in here because most of the time bathrooms are neglected in motorhomes. So you'll have an AC vent up here as well as a heat vent down below. That way there's some continuity with air temperature in the motorhome instead of those hot and cold spots. So on this control panel, you'll have access to that max air fan from in here if you're having a rougher day. The ceiling light from here, as well as the water pump. So if you just urgently have to go to the bathroom or anything, you don't have to make sure the water pump's outside on that main panel. You can turn it on from in the bathroom itself, because sometimes that's not on the forefront of your mind. Now back in the bedroom, this is going to be where you'll have a lot of storage in here. So Renegade's been optioning things with a mini king bed, so it is wider than a queen bed, but slightly smaller than the home style king bed. And they do that because people were complaining about having difficulties getting on each side of the bed and making it. So I actually had a customer that bought a newer Renegade instead of one of the older ones that we had here, just because of the width on both sides of the bed. So they could make the bed, essentially. Underneath the bed, you'll have two hinges under here. So you'll have one hinge to fully access the compartment, and then the front hinge just to see the front half of this. So under here, you're gonna see your two 75-gallon fresh tanks, giving you 150 total capacity. You'll have the water pump mounted to a steel plate in here, so that's gonna help with vibration transference as well as the noise of the water pump. You'll also get to see what your ducting looks like down here. Your dumps for your fresh tank is going to be all under here. So I believe it's 26 is when they started doing these separate hinges. And it just made it easier to get into this front portion without having to lift up this whole panel like you do, because it is heavy to pick up this whole thing instead of just that front. So both sides of the bed are going to be identical, so we'll just cover one side of it. You'll have a little bit of storage on both sides. It does have adjustable shelves in there, and it'll be mimicked on the other side. You'll have that same countertop that we talked about going all the way back. So if you want to set drinks or anything on here, you don't have to worry about swelling up wood. You'll have outlets on both sides. Again, they're going to be 110, USB-A, and USB-C. And there is opening windows on both sides of the bed. So if you're one that likes that cross ventilation, you can get that while sleeping, because you don't want to run with the generator on or the ACs on, however you want to do it. So up above, you're going to have storage, again, all the way through, very, very deep. You'll have an outlet up top, so if you need to plug up anything up here out of the way, you can. If you want to stick CPAPs up here, drill a little hole down there, run the hoses through, you can do that. Another important thing above the bed is you'll have another one of those main control panels. So on that control panel, you can do water pump, all your lights, your generator, and then individual lights up here you can turn on and off. That way, if you forget to turn things on, off, need to start the generator up so it can start warming up the motorhome, you can do that. You'll have reading lights in here, so a little blue light that's non-invasive, white light if you need a lot more, and both of these will have USBs in that USB-A in there itself. So a lot of people will put like the little cargo nets on the bottom of the cabinets just so they have a little bit more storage spot for iPads, phones, or anything like that, and you're not eating up your nightstand space. So across from that, you're going to have your TV designated to the bedroom. You'll have another opening window here. It'll have, this one will be your emergency exit, so you're not going to open this one a whole lot, but again, more natural light so it doesn't feel like a cave in here. You'll also have outlet next to it, so if you ever need to use this as like a charging station or a laptop area, you can do that. So both sides are going to be the same. The only thing that varies is going to be the center portion, and because you'll have that on an AV cabinet. So on top of both sides is going to be hanging. Down below you'll have drawers. So lots of storage space in the bedroom. Then you'll have two large drawers in the center, and then one smaller drawer off to the right, and then an AV cabinet for that TV down below. Again, glass panel front so you can get all the infrared light through. Hidden hinges just so it's a little bit cleaner aesthetic. So this side, hanging storage, and then 3 drawers instead of 4. So that'll be it for the bedroom. So the last thing that we're going to cover here is going to be the chassis in this motorhome. So with the 2025 and 2026 changes, they had some nice little creature comforts. So they use the newer Freightliner chassis. So everything's going to be mounted on the column essentially. So you'll have your exhaust brake on here, you'll have the shifter on here, you'll be able to manual mode and paddle shifting all done in one spot, so you're not having to feel around on the different sides of the motorhome for the exhaust brake or anything of that nature. So we'll start in the center, work our way up. You'll have your AC controls down here, your leveling down here. So this is the manual pad for the leveling if you can't get the multiplex to work, if something's wrong with that. You'll have Garmin navigation in here. You'll have the QR code for Freightliner Direct. If you ever need roadside assistance with them or customer support for the chassis or engine, you can always call them. The Garmin panel is removable, so if you want the passenger to route you places, set up your phone, and then decide on what music or check weather, anything of that nature, you can have them do that. You will have physical buttons if they have that, so if you need to mute it for a second, skip songs, turn it off, you can do that or change the input. On the right side, you're going to have 12-volt power and then USB inputs. Might help if I put it in the right spot. There we go. Then on this bottom left, you're going to have your docking lights. That's going to be the lights around the outside of the coach to help hooking up at night or backing up at night. Fast idle is now just a switch, so you don't have to worry about trying to figure out how to set the cruise control. You'll also have a suspension dump button, so if you're hooking up to a lower trailer, you can do that. Makes it a little bit easier. If it's got a short leg, you don't have to find those wood blocks for hooking it up, just depending on what you need to do. Traction control, footwell light. Your hazards are very obvious to get to instead of having to find them on the column like you used to have to. Up above, this will be that designated camera system that we were talking about. So you'll have them set up however you need to, and it'll change based on the blinkers that you have on. And there might be a mode where you can have all the different cameras visible at all time. I just haven't played with it yet since it's a newer system. Up above, you'll have storage on both sides, and then you have the prep for the CB in the center. So if you're not going to do that, again, it's just another storage compartment. Then the last little bit of section will be steering wheel and dash controls. So actually, there's one more thing. So on the insides over here, this is where you're going to control the heat. So you have on, low, and high. So high will cook you out of this seat. It is very, very good, and it's definitely fun to mess with someone with if they don't know that the heated seats are there. You want to cook them out, especially in the summertime. You can have, on the dash or the steering wheel, sorry, you'll have your cruise control settings on one side as well as hands-free on that. You'll have volume control over here, and then you'll have your panels, your buttons to control the display on the center. On the left side, you're going to have your blinkers, your light controls, your windshield wiper controls all in one spot. On the door, you'll have your upper mirror controls, the heated mirror buttons, your door locks, as well as window switches on both doors now instead of having them in the center like they used to be. So again, just more creature comforts that you have. While you're playing with the dash up here, so there's a lot of information here now instead of just all being analog. So what's cool about this is it's digital and analog, so it's more of a hybrid display. So any of like the old truckers and stuff that like having the actual tachometers and everything like that, they will have that, or actual gauges. So RPMs, oil pressure, fuel and depth, you won't be able to see it because it's full right now, but there's a blue line or a blue needle behind that white needle, and that's for your depth. So you can see both of them at the same time. Miles per hour, your air, again, white and blue needle for each of your ping tanks. You'll have 2 of them. Water coolant, water temperature here, that's your coolant temperature. And in the center, you're gonna have the digital display, miles per gallon, your trip settings, the leg of the trip. It'll show your average speed or what your cruise control is set up to. If you go into the next one, it's going to be the digital speed, outside temperature, as well as the odometer. Down below it, it's always going to show what gear you're in. So obviously we're in neutral with the parking brake enabled, since diesels don't really have a park on the transmission. They just use a neutral in the air brakes. You'll have built-in tire pressure monitoring, PTO settings, the diesel particulate filter levels, different gauges that you can set up depending on what you need. So this one's set up to transmission right now, so if you're towing, you can see what's going on back there. Different alerts, again, that's the self-diagnosing system that we were talking about. So if something's wrong with it, it'll kind of give you a warning and let you know what's going on with it. Especially if you have to call into Freightliner or something, you just get some general idea of what's going on, especially if you're middle of driving. Settings is just going to be all your dash controls, so you can adjust lighting, units, dash brightness, and everything of that nature. And then obviously the last thing that they have in here is going to be an alarm clock. Since it is a truck chassis, sometimes you use that just to wake yourself up if you're sleeping up here. But that's going to be it for this 2026 Renegade Valencia. If you have any questions, feel free to text or call me. My name is Justin. My cell phone number is 404-936-6215. My email is justin.rogers@transwest.com. Have a good one.